So hey guys, Dr. Brazier here just to give you a quick review on how to get through your class. So again, you're going to open your Lone Star D2L account and it's going to have the courses that you're currently registered in, and you're going to go up to this Biology 2402 and you're going to click it. If you're not signed in, it's going to ask you to log in and then you're going to get to your course. Now this first page, whenever the first day arrives, it's not the first day and officially clicked in. So you're going to have an announcement on what's due this week that comes up here. Now what you're going to do is you're going to go to this area that says content and you're going to click on it. And then you're not going to get, let me put this in here so you can view as a student. So this is what it's going to look like for you. And you're going to go in and you're going to see here's your table of contents and your instruction into the course. So table of contents is all the stuff that you see below. Now if you go, you'll go into the instruction to the course. Here's the welcome video. This is how to register. So you're going to go into here and you're going to see two things. First, you're going to see is this handout. And the handout is going to get you instructions on how to essentially log in or register for account here. And this, where it says Brazier here, that is going to tell you what your actual number is for the course in case it asks for it. So make sure that you go back to this link to check this number out. Don't use this video to see if that's the number. Go back and actually check to see what this is for you guys. Now you have this link underneath that says welcome to Mastering A&P, and you can click on that, and what it's going to do is it's going to sit there and it's going to think, and it's going to basically open up a website that is going to ask you for directions or for you to sign into the actual website. Now, of course, I'm already signed up for this. So once you end up getting into the website and signing up, registering for your account, then this is what you'll see when you go there, and you can track everything or go in through that link. So I'm not going to show you. Basically, it's just going to start with a page that asks you for your email and login, and then you're going to put in, if you already have an account, you're going to put that information. If not, there's going to be a link that tells you to actually sign up for an account. So you can do that. And if you've not taken a class here at University Park, or you've not bought this Mastering Mira before, then you can purchase it here. If you have, then you can basically use the code that you've had previously. And if that doesn't work, just contact Pearson Mastering and they will allow you into the course and fix everything for you. Now, this does have a 2-week free offer if you don't have the money right now to sign up for it. So please go ahead and sign in for that 2 weeks and get started early so that you don't get behind later. And then once you get the money, then you can purchase the access to your account then. Let me go back to this content page and we'll explain from there how everything goes. Now, for this first week, you want to come into where it says personal account, and I'm going to update this information here, but it will be due next week. In this personal introduction here, or you'll look underneath there to find out what the actual date that this is due. But this is, you're going to use this program called Animoto, and if you click here, it's going to get to the actual program here, and you can sign up if you've never used it before, or you can log in if you've used it before. And if you've taken my class before, you would have had to do this, so you can just update it from the last time that you've used it. If you've never taken my class, then you're going to make it from scratch, and you can use different other websites to upload videos or picture. I know on Facebook, I believe Instagram as well, or you can download them straight from your computer top. So look, you have to have a certain time for this to be made. Sorry about that, guys. Let me get back in there. you have to have a certain time requirement, and some of the backdrops that they have don't include the right amount of time. So if you can't make it longer, then change your backdrop and that will help you. Here. So that's back in that content area where it says the welcome page. And as it says, you need to make it between 3 and 5 minutes, and you need to watch 3 other students and comment about theirs. And that'll be worth a certain number of points in your class. And you can look at the syllabus or the grade area for that. Now, I did send the syllabus already, but you can see it here. It's a PDF link, and the video that I made for the syllabus, you can actually find it here. If you haven't reviewed over that syllabus yet, please watch this video. I will not review over this entire syllabus in the class. Since this is part of the lecture course for this week, I will hit over some of the more important areas that pertain to the lab and the face-to-face part of this class. But please watch that. So if you have any questions about how the class works or certain assignments, you can ask me on Tuesday. Now, of course, you've already come in here because this is where the class setup and expectation link is. And then this is the link to the lab safety agreement that we will go over the first day in lab. So that's the area that is known as Introduction to Course. Now, the student success links on here just give you some links to help you. For instance, the first 2 are about just general student success videos, how to study anatomy, how to use your textbook. And then if you look underneath, there's a lot of PDFs in here that give you general time management, how to assess your study places, for you to find out what type of learning style that you prefer, basically how to use your textbook, how to actually make study groups effective, how to take notes, how to study for exams, specifically biology exams, and success in the lab. So you can pull these up. Some of them are assessments that you can fill out to find out a little bit about yourself and start planning how you're going to approach this class. So those are some important links in there. Now, if you ever have any questions in general that you don't want to ask me, but you want to communicate with your fellow classmates directly, there's a student communication forum. So you just kind of click on it, and then you can start a new thread in there. And you can talk back and forth to students and ask them questions. So that's where I would always refer you guys to go to first if you just have a general question, or maybe you want to make a study group, or you want to ask somebody for help over a topic. Maybe it's kind of late and you're in the middle of studying, and you know that I probably won't be awake or that I will not respond, so that you can put this out here and maybe one of your fellow students can look and help you with that. So this is a really informal area. Please keep everything respectable here. No curse words, no threats. Don't say anything that can be construed as inappropriate. But for the most part, I'm not looking in this a lot, going through things. This is supposed to be an area that's for you students to communicate back and forth with. Now, at any point, if you want to go to your textbook and you don't want to go through a bunch of links, I do have this. So this first part is your textbook, and you can click it and it will open. And sometimes it depends on how fast your internet connection is and how readily available the Pearson text is working. And right now, for instance, it's a little bit slower because my internet connection at my home is a little bit slower. But you can see it goes through, and you can start reading at the preface. Or if you want to, our very first unit is the endocrine system. So you can click, and it'll give you the different sections here that you can go through and review. And if you want to go into review questions, chapter summaries, any of that information you can find there. So it makes it really easy for you to go straight to the text. Now, within this area is also a study area. And this is a great area. I absolutely love this area. And I really feel like you guys should utilize this as much as possible. This is a study area. So within this area, you're going to find a bunch of stuff. You can study by text chapters. So you can click this, and it's going to give. So for instance, if you want to go to the endocrine system, you can click here, And look, you can test yourself. There's all kinds of quizzes, practice tests, direct learning. They can get you within the e-text specifically, and through there they can actually pull up some interactives for you and some movies, and make it really easy for you to kind of interact and find stuff. Of course, you can look in here. There's an area for glossary, flashcards. There are even some case studies to help to see if you can think about that topic at a higher level. There's some MP3 tutoring. The PhysioX will help you to essentially, it's a separate site, but it's going to get you more into kind of lab type things where you can pick things up. Again, more videos and talking a little bit about how connect this section to say something applicable outside. And so you have an RN here talking about her career connections with this section. So I really like this, and then you can go into this area directly by chapter. At the same point, if you just want to go and look, that you can go straight into the art labeling activities, practice, test, and quizzes, animation and videos, interactive physiology, or just some lab manual exercises, lab tools, additional study. So there's all kinds of references that you can use in there, and it's really an interesting place full of activities and different assessments that you can use. You don't even have to go outside of this class to find this. So I'd suggest you check that area out as well. Now, if you look at the syllabus, you'll notice that everything is separated by lessons. And so if you go here, there's this lesson 1 endocrine system. So that's the very first one that you're going to look at. And so if you go into the section, it's going to tell you what chapter you need to read. Then it's going to tell you what activities to plan to do. So I have chapter 16, dynamic study modules. These are modules that are just going to review the entire chapter. It doesn't mean that's what I'm going to talk about. It means it's not specific. It goes over every single unit and every single concept in the chapter. So it's going to at least expose you to the entire chapter. Now, the homework that you're going to have is for lesson 1. And those are homeworks that I have specifically created, went in and created my own questions for that, or selected the questions that I think are important. And underneath all of them, it's going to tell you exactly when this unit is due. And just an easy way is if you know a test is opening, everything for that test is going to be due the night before the test opens officially at 11:59. Now, if you look within this lesson, I've separated it into sections. So this first section here are lecture helpful videos. So these are videos I've gone and I've basically scoured the internet and found really useful videos for you to watch by other either content specialists or faculty. There's an arrangement of different people on here that are presenting these topics. So I've gone and kind of looked at important topics within the section that I think is important, and I've put those videos for you to just kind of help watch them to review over stuff. Now, if you look here, this very first part in the lecture PowerPoint will give you the PowerPoint itself. So here you can download it. In the second link, you can see it's actually me going over the PowerPoints. So I have created these lectures for the PowerPoints so that you can get through it and you can understand everything that's there. So you print out the PowerPoints that are in the link above this, and then you can actually take notes on this PowerPoint as I go through it. You can open that. All of those are found directly in YouTube. I've put those in YouTube. And then at the end, you can go to this page and it's going to open up all the assignments. And so this is where you go into the assignments, and you'll notice there's a bunch of them there right now. Some of these you'll see, some of them you won't, because they have not made available to you yet. And over the next week, the rest of the course will be activated. And so if you look, where I would start is I would always start with the dynamic study modules on here. And so I'd go to section 1. So if you click on that, it's going to open here. And then basically you are going to hit and go into student view. So I'm going to let you know what the student view looks like here. So give me a second as it opens. And so you're going to get an arrangement of these different questions. And so on here it says these chemical signals act locally but affect cell types other than the releasing cell. So you can go on here and the answers are hormones, autocrines, paracrines, cholesterol, or I don't know yet. And so you can go and you can click here and it says click once if you're unsure. So I'm not sure if this one is it. There could be another one I think it is. Or you click twice if you're for sure and you think it's the case. So let's continue and let's click twice and see and submit here. And it's like, oh crap. You were sure about this, but it's incorrect, right? And so do you see that little notch up there? That notch is showing you that it's red. You've answered one question and you need to be concerned about this because you thought you knew it, but you didn't. So let's go to the next question. Select the correct statement describing the difference between hormonal and neural control of body functions. And so let's read these over here. Hormonal responses last longer than responses to nervous impulses. Responses to nervous impulses last longer than hormonal responses. Hormonal messages are electrochemical in nature. Organs respond faster to hormones than to the nervous impulses. And I don't know. So you can click, if you absolutely don't know what it is, you can just select it. It says I don't know, and it doesn't tell you you're incorrect or not. It just puts that little notch that's kind of green there because at least you knew you didn't know it. So let's go to the next one. Identify the element of direct gene activation by lipid-soluble hormone indicated by B. So we're going to look in this picture and we're going to look and it says right here. So we're trying to figure out what this is right here indicated by B. And so is this a receptor binding region? Is it a receptor hormone complex? Is it a steroid hormone, or is it a receptor protein? And so we're kind of looking at this and say you're not really sure. You think it could be maybe this and maybe this. And so if you submit on this, they're like, oh, you're incorrect for both, right? So we're not right. Again, it's going to give you kind of not this dark red one, but this green one because you were unsure here. So let's go through this and read this really quick. And let's see what we have here. And so if we do this one and let's say, this one. Or, this one and this one. Again, right? Which one is this asking for? And so if you go here, you'll notice if you pick these two guys right here, again, it's going to tell you that you're unsure, but one of the two is correct. So if you have them both incorrect, they'll tell you they're both incorrect. If you have one correct and the other one incorrect, it won't tell you which one it is, but it will tell you that one of them is correct. And then you can go back and you can actually view when you go through this whole thing. You can go back and view these and get an idea what the answer is. And at any of these, if they're really hard to see, I'm having a really hard time seeing these. They're kind of smaller. You can blow it up. And then again, just go back to what you're doing in a second. So let me close this. So that's how they work. And of course, if it's correct, it just tells you it's correct. Now, let's go back to the assignment again. And I can show you the homework. Just takes a few moments to open it. So that was a brief dynamic study modules. The homework is a couple ways. So you have this lesson 1 endocrine system. You click on it And then this is what it's going to pop up for you, and it has all these different questions, and you can basically click on them as you want. It tells you how many points are next to them. And this is worth roughly 10 points. So some of them you click on there, you'll go into them. For instance, this guy right here, it's worth a little bit more than the other ones, and that's because it's a multi-step project. And you can click this to actually watch the animation, and then afterwards you can go and you can answer the questions over here. So this one's going to be worth a little bit more because you have to read and then you answer. Once you're done, you just submit. And then again, this one has another video and it's worth a little bit more because it's the same thing. Here you have these guys that are questions that you can answer with this. Now something like this, you can go, you can read it, and it's really easy, right? You can go and click this, and if you get it, it's going to tell you that it's incorrect. Try again, and you have up to 5 times. Now this one is easy, right? You just click the next time, and it's pretty straightforward. Now the other ones that are multiple choice, you have more there. Now this is in place, and I wanted to show this to you the way that it is, because these guys aren't you just get them right or get them wrong and they're wrong. You get 0 points. You get multiple attempts through them so that you can keep some of your points. So it's only going to take a small, like 20% of the points away every time you try. And then the next time you just hit false, submit, and then it's going to say correct and give you kind of the answer to help you. And of course, it's going to be a little bit harder. True and false ones are going to be really easy, but if you get something that essentially has more questions to it, it's going to be a little bit harder for you to go through there. So that's how the homework works. So those are the 2 main parts. Now, I can let you know on here that the day after you do it, if you have things that you're getting wrong, there are small extra credit activities. Now, it's not worth a ton of points, but it might help you to kind of review some of the things that you missed. So there are these things called adapted follow-ups for that unit. And so you just click the one after you do the first lesson. You can't do these first, because what they're doing is they're taking the things you've gotten wrong the first time you've done it, and they're asking you additional questions based on that. So you're just going to go in here, and this is going to kind of show you a demo of it. So you can go, and if you like, let me actually play this for you really quick.
Adaptive follow-ups are personalized assignments that take advantage of the teaching moment that follows a mastering assignment. Students can start to address their misconceptions right away on their own, before they take root and before you need to move on to the next topic. Here's how they work. If you enable the adaptive follow-up assignment, once students complete your homework, they are immediately directed to the adaptive follow-up, where the Newton Adaptive Learning Engine selects questions from the Mastering Item Library to address each student's individual gaps in understanding. Behind the scenes, the Newton Engine identifies the concepts from your homework that the student knows and doesn't know. These concepts are mapped in a knowledge graph, which identifies core prerequisite concepts that are important to the overall understanding of the concepts on your homework. Newton also analyzes past performance on mastering assignments to select item types that were most effective for the student on previous assignments, and items and concepts that were most helpful for students with similar performance profiles. Adaptive follow-up assignments progress in stages through multiple question sets, each new set of questions adapting to student results on previous sets. Students work through the assignment until they complete the number of question sets you specify when adding the adaptive follow-up, or until they demonstrate an understanding of the material. In this way, struggling students who require more practice and support may work through up to 8 question sets, while stronger students may complete the adaptive follow-up after 1 question set. They automatically receive the points for the remaining sets, and they are not required to do additional busy work. After students have completed work in an adaptive follow-up, You can see all assigned questions and view responses as you normally would on the assignment grade page.
So that kind of gives you, now these are not required to do, and they may be a little bit longer than you want, but they are worth extra credit. It's only 1 point per session because of the fact that there are 13 different lessons, so there's a possibility of 13 extra credit bonus points. And these are in place just to help you. So they're not required that you do them, but if you do them, it can help you kind of grasp the information that you may not know. So that's how those work. And basically, those are due the day after the assignments are due. So all of these assignments are due the night before 11:59, the night before the test opens. These other kind of extra credit assignments that are in place are due the next day. So the day the test opens till 11:59. Now, what I would do is I would do them immediately after you finish the set that you're in so that you can kind of help to fill in those knowledge deficits that you may have or those confusions that you may have. So those are in place to help you. And like I said, you can find your assignments at the bottom of every single unit that's in here. And I would go to every single unit because they're going to kind of help you in the information that you need. And as you can see, there's one for every single topic that we're going to talk about. Now, you'll notice that you have lessons 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you have exam 1. And that's going to cover lessons 1 through 4. And so if you go in here, it's going to tell you when it's due and that it requires the Respondus lockdown browser and the webcam. And so I'm going to put in a practice test in here. If you've taken my class before, you completely know how to use these guys. If you haven't, then the practice test is going to be helpful for you to run first so that you can make sure that your computer is well adept at handling this. So you will need to download the lockdown browser. That's going to make it so you can't open anything else in the background. And you are going to, you're going to need a webcam. And the webcam, you're going to end up having to show an ID, like a driver's license or your student ID, at the beginning of the test. And then you are going to have to take your webcam and actually move it around so I can see the desk that your keyboard's on and the whole area around it. I need to be able to see everything so that I know that there aren't any notes sitting anywhere or any way that someone can be cheating. Being honest and not cheating is really important to me. There are a lot of people that work really, really hard in this class to try to make a good grade. And it's not fair if you basically cheat and make a better grade than them and don't work as hard as they did. So I'm really big about that. If you have any problems and it's not working, you can contact this phone number or this email for OTS and they can assist you on what could be causing the problem. Now here it'll tell you have an hour and 45 minutes to complete this exam, and there are 105 minutes, and basically there are 83 questions on here. It's true, false, multiple choice, fill in the blank, and essay. So keep that in mind as you go through, and you'll want to make sure that you keep in mind the time, because if you don't complete it, I will not reopen it for you. So if you were sitting in my class, you'd have an hour and a half to finish it, and then we'd be done, and I'd take it up from you. So this is, kind of how every single lecture exam will work. Now, I use the lockdown browser and then the Respondus, basically the webcam, so that you're not having to pay $10 to $20 per test for someone to watch you take it. But I'll talk a little bit more in class about how this works when we get closer to the test. And so you'll find that there when these are due, and it's also in the schedule too. So if you look at the course schedule, they'll tell you, and some of these are past due because I've not updated those yet. But as I update them, you'll be able to see like upcoming. There's nothing in the next 7 days, but if you're looking, they're telling you in the full schedule, this is due on this day. So there's no reason to basically miss any of the due dates, because if you look and you go, okay, well, the lecture exam is due Sunday, November 11th. Let me go back and look at when it opened, which will normally be the class period before, if it's on a weekend of this. And so then you know that the actual homework was due the class period before this opened. So you can find those dates in here. And you can see them all the way down as you go, all the different lessons you're going to. And pretty much every one of them I've done my own lecture for. So if you're not sure what to go over, watch the lecture, and the lecture is going to review. The lecture videos are, in essence, a review. I'm not giving you an actual written review. Everybody has made it through A&P1, and during A&P1, you should have been taught in some way how to make a review. Because, for instance, if you've taken my class, the very first test actually have questions at the beginning of all my PowerPoints that basically tell you, okay, can you answer this question, this question, this question? And they're basically reviews. But towards the end of the class, I get rid of them because at that point, you should know how to make reviews. Anybody who's been through A&P1 should have, or their instructor should have made them capable of getting through a class without a review. So that's why I don't do them for the lecture exam. Plus, I have put and spent hours upon hours making lectures for this class. And the lectures review everything in the book that I feel is important. So you shouldn't need, I've actually spent way more time doing that and explaining concepts for you. So make sure that you're taking time looking at those and things like the homework. Now, the last thing I'll go over here is we're going to be in lab. So if you look here in the lab, there are review sheets. So I do give reviews for the lab practical just because it's basically not always written by me. And so I want everything to just generally have a review over the concepts that we've talked about in class and what's important. So at any time you can pull those and those will give you a good idea. I can click one for you really quick so you can see it here. It's a PowerPoint and it kind of goes through all the different areas that are important. And so with that being said, pretty much I've gone through what the class looks like and how it works. And it's pretty self-explanatory, I think. So you can just kind of move around a little bit in this class and it can give you a good idea how it works. Now, I will tell you, let me go in here and see, I think it's here. There are some places, for instance, if you look at the cardiovascular system, the heart here. Of course, I have my PowerPoint and then the lectures afterwards. But I do have some basically activities. And this is the cardiac cycle activity that comes, and it's really helpful. This is something you would do on your own, of course. And it kind of, you can print it out and go through it. And you can always ask me and I can help you kind of figure out what the answers are for that. But for instance here, I'll mention this, here's also a case study that goes through some questions. So in some cases, you'll have these extra things to kind of help you. And if you look here, there's an online part or game that helps you to basically label the heart. So sometimes I add some extra components to each unit to help you through it. Now, let me go in here. You'll notice in here, there's also going to be times where there's extra credit. And I'll explain how this works because this is something you're going to do at home with a group of 3 other people. And basically what's going to happen is there's a case study that you're going to read. And upon completion, you should be able to answer these questions, right? And so these are worth 10 points extra credit. And basically, you are going to go through the case study and answer the case study. And basically, what you're going to do is once you finish looking through the case study, you're going to actually use something online to some kind of program, Uvu or whatever other one that you figure out, to actually call each other online and discuss the answers to the case study. So everybody should do the case study, and then you should go over and discuss what you got as answers. And then from there, you are going to actually submit the answers of the case study online, and then you're going to take a quiz. So for instance, in here, this case study, you're going to look and you can print it out. It's called Black and Blue with Love, a case study in blood clotting. So you go through here and it's all this case study about this little boy, Tristan, who comes to the hospital and he is all black and blue, and they're a little scared because he has all this massive bruising and they think that he may be being abused. But at the same time, they need to check some things, so they start doing x-rays and they do a lot of things. And so you're going to look and you're going to basically review some of his metabolic panel and his blood count, things of that nature. And they're going to show you how to read some of these, what are normal values and what are his values. And then you're going to answer questions about this, okay? And so that's the first thing you're going to do. And you're going to do this part at home on your own, right? Down here. Once you finish that, you're going to do a video conference with your group. And so here, if you look, they talk about some possible apps that are free under here for you to meet with people. So you can read through here and figure out which ones you think are good for you to use, or you can pick one on your own. And so this is an example of one called Zoom. So you guys are going to come together, you're going to talk online about what the answers are, and I would just suggest you do everything first and then go question by question and discuss it with each other. And then what you're going to do, right, you're going to take that video, you're going to basically make a file of it, and then you're going to submit it online so that I can watch it. And from there, I can see how interactive everybody is, and I'll give points based on that. So you're going to only one person is going to submit this. So whoever starts the webinar, you're the person who's going to submit it. And then everybody in your group is going to submit the completed case study. And the thing is, if you don't submit it, the students that don't submit it automatically get a 0 for the extra credit. So if you don't submit it, you get a 0. From there, I'm going to look at the group and I'm going to randomly pick one group member to grade for everybody. So that's why it's important that all the group members interact with each other. Now, if one of your group members doesn't submit it, you're not going to get a 0 for it. Only they will get a 0 from it, and I'll pick it from one of the other people that have submitted it. And then at the end, you're going to take a quiz over it, and the quiz is going to basically ask you questions about the case study, and it's going to give you the correct answer so you can annotate and correct anything that may be wrong. Now, it's a lot of work, but it's going to help you understand some concepts that are kind of hard. I have a couple of these throughout the class. They're each worth, the whole thing altogether is worth 10 points, right? You have 3 points for the actual group work assessment. So you have 2 for the actual submitted answers, and then 5 for the submitted answers, and then you have 2 for the individual quiz. So that's one other example of extra credit. So as of right now, you have these case studies, you have the adapted learning, and then you have in every single exam, there's going to be a question on there that's going to ask you what else have you learned in the test that I haven't asked. That's going to help with test bias. With all of those extra points that you can get, that essentially will help you with the exam and learning the material. I do not round in this class, and I do not curve. So keep that in mind, because I give enough small extra credit opportunities that you don't have to do that. So with that in mind, I am done reviewing how the course works. Some of these things I will talk more throughout the semester as it becomes available. So if you have any questions, just contact me, and have a good afternoon, guys.